right, so Syracuse takes it to Pitt up at the Carrier Dome. We are just minutes away from the tip at the rack as UConn and Rutgers will be going at it. Plenty of storylines. Hey, everybody, Jonas Schwartz alongside Kara Walters and Gino Auriemma and the Huskies. You know, look, they're taking on C. Vivian Stringer. There's a lot of history here. But let's also be honest. Baylor comes Monday. Any worries about a letdown in this game for them? Any worries they're looking past them, I should say?
Well, as a player, you try not to look past them. But this is an interesting scenario. It's like a tournament. It's like a Final Four. There's only one day in between till they play Baylor. So it's human nature. As a player, you somewhat look past this game. Now, you can't really because this is a Rutgers team. They're athletic. They want to get C-Viv that win. It's not like a pushover like a Seton Hall, but at the same time, they're going to work on things that they need for that Baylor game. And
there's significance to the setup here of there only being one day in between these games, isn't there?
Yeah, one day in between. But they have to get used to that. That's a tournament-type experience that they have to get used to. But Gino is not looking past, but at the same time going to work on things that they have to do crisp for Baylor, which are things that they have to do crisp in this game as well. Their cuts, moving without the basketball, those type of things. But it is human nature. As a player, you know it's on the calendar for Monday.
All right, now we know this used to be the rivalry in the Big East. C. Vivian obviously going for a win 900, so there's a lot of juice in this game. How about these two coaches going at each other?
Well, you have some of the best coaches there, and it's more like a chess game when you have these great coaches, the same like it will be with Kim Mulkey on Monday. They've been around a long time. They're in the Hall of Fame, both of them. They've just done fantastic things for the sport of women's basketball, and it's always fun when you have two great coaches going against each other with the rivalry that was there. Unfortunately, this could be the last time that they play. The last couple of years, Rutgers has not been as good as they have in the past. I think they've fallen off for the last 3 years. But again, they're always athletic. They tend to slow down the game, which UConn doesn't want to do. They want to play at their tempo. So this team tries to slow it down and keep the scoring low.
All right, you mentioned how we are going to see two great coaches. The hallmark of a great coach is changing things up. You're going to love this. See, Gino Auriemma actually is saying he's changing the way he's handled his team the last couple of weeks. Here he is on his newfound positivity after the last game.
I would say my attitude has been better. My approach has been better. I just pretend now that everything's okay. You know, I spent like 4 months, you know, harping and moaning on doing every little thing right. And then I realized about 2 weeks ago, maybe it was right at their St. John's game, that if I pretend that everything's okay, these guys really like that. And then they just play. So like when we had 3 possessions where we just threw it away, I just pretended they never happened. That's what they want from me. So I'm giving it to them. And that's why we're being so successful. You think I'm kidding, but it's the honest to God truth. I'm not trying to be smart. I'm not trying to be funny. You know, this particular team does not respond very well to me, you know, putting like heavy demands on them of trying to, you know, be really, really good every possession. I tried that. It doesn't work.
All right, I got to get your reaction to this new devil-may-care Gino Auriemma. What's your reaction to that?
I think he's full of it a little bit, just a little bit. They had to bleep an awful lot in that segment with Gino Auriemma, but
not so kinder and gentler, yeah.
Right. Well, to some extent, I can see his point. As far as every team is motivated differently. Okay, I was the worst post player in America every day when I got to UConn. He yelled at me. He told me I stunk, and that motivated me. But sometimes, as a team, you can't take that. After a while, it kind of wears on you and gets you down. So I think what he's realizing is this is the type of team that he can't yell at as much. Obviously, that's what he's saying. And the thing that motivates them is the kinder, gentler Gino, letting some stuff go and having the leadership they have in Kelly Ferris and that sort of thing. They kind of get it now. But they said, if you listen to some of the responses from the player, that it's helped. So Gino, obviously Hall of Fame for a reason, knows how to motivate every player that he has.
All right, C. Vivian Stringer going for a 900th win, as we've mentioned. Talk about what a milestone this is for her and that program.
Well, you know, Vivian Stringer, she's been through a lot in her life. She's had a lot of tragedies personally. She's coached through a lot of things. It means a lot. If you can help as a player, you really want to help get her this win. She deserves it, what she's done for the sport. She's come under scrutiny, though, the last 3 years, saying that, you know what, her record hasn't been as good. They haven't gotten back to a Final Four. You know, the expectations are so high when you've had the success in the past that Rutgers has had. So there is a little scrutiny on her. She responded in an article in the paper and kind of went off on people and said, hey, listen, I don't care what anyone thinks other than our athletic director. And I know what I've done for this program and what she's done bringing national attention to Rutgers. And so I think in a game like this, it would be nice for her. She would like to kind of prove herself as a coach because she's come under that type of scrutiny.
All right, one of the goals for C. Vivian Stringer in this game is to slow down Stephanie Dolson.
Well, yeah, she's going to try to slow down Stephanie Dolson. She tries to slow down the whole game, actually. With an athletic team, you'd think they'd want to go up tempo, but they don't. They want to slow down how many possessions you get. Every possession counts. Stephanie Dolson, I don't think they technically have. They have Chelsea Lee inside. They have Monique Oliver, who's been injured, but I still don't think that they have the post presence to hang. They certainly don't have the height in their post to handle Stephanie Dolson, especially when she's been doing what she's doing. Not only is she scoring, but she's passing the ball really well.
All right, how about Kelly Ferris, who's coming off a very good game against Providence?
Well, Kelly Ferris is
every game.
Kelly Ferris. I mean, she's solid. She's one of those solid players. Gino has a lot of trust and faith in Kelly Ferris, doing the little things. It's her last year. She leads by example, not only what she does, but she gives her teammates confidence because Kelly has this attitude, come on, guys, we're going to do this. We're going to pull it out, and it's contagious what Kelly Ferris does. She epitomizes everything about Connecticut basketball.
All right, Mariah Jefferson coming off what was maybe her best game of the year.
Yep.
First-year player. How about just trying to get the consistency game in and game out and build off of that?
Well, she's getting the opportunity now. With Brianna Banks' injury, she's having these minutes. So now you get those opportunities. You want to make the most of them. She's a freshman. She's quick. She's known for her defense, her steals, getting in there, but she also doesn't want to be known just for defense. Offensively, she's capable of adding some points and getting to the basket with her quick first step. So I think now she's starting to get that confidence knowing she's going to have these minutes.
All right, and as you can see, the first impressions, the UConn first-year players certainly making all the difference in the world for this team. I mean, it's not unusual to see such a good recruiting class and young players coming through for Gino Auriemma.
Well, no. He's a pretty good recruiter as well as coach, and he knows what he's doing. And Brianna Stewart's evolved. Morgan Tuck has had a few injuries, but I think Brianna Stewart, and we've said this before, but sometimes she seems quiet in what she does, but look at the impact she's making. She's the leading rebounder on this team. Imagine her as a senior. She's only going to grow. She's gotten tougher and stronger. It's amazing what she's going to do.
All right, we will be back at halftime to break down the first half of action in this game. But for now, that'll do it for Kara and I. Let's send you down to the rack. Our Gary Apple with the call. Rutgers and UConn basketball starts right now.
The Connecticut Huskies have their sights set on a Monday night showdown with the #1 team in America, the Baylor Bears. But first, they need to take care of business as they pay a visit to Rutgers, and it's coming next on SNY. The UConn Huskies are amongst the hottest teams in America. They've won 11 consecutive games, and they look to keep the mojo going today against the Rutgers team that is tough to beat in their building. They're 11-1 at the rack this season. Hi, everybody. Gary Apple alongside Megan Colmo. So great to have you with us. And as we talk about a Connecticut team that is 23-1 on the season, we know about the big guns. We know about Dolson. We know about Mosqueda Lewis. But what about the freshman, Mariah Jefferson, coming off a career high? She had 13 in the win over Providence.
Well, not only did she have those 13 points, Gary, but she had 5 key steals in that contest. She adds such a quickness to this team and is so explosive with the basketball, particularly in the open court. But if she turns that corner on you defensively, look out. Can use the right or the left hand. She is incredibly explosive, and she's coming on at the right time of year, Gary. They really need her offense and defense right now.
Kelly Ferris, certainly another big story for Connecticut. She just came off starting her 100th consecutive game. You know, she's such a humble player, and when that game was over, she spoke about her head coach, Gino Auriemma, and just how much he has meant to her.
he's somebody that you don't want to disappoint, and that's always in the back of my head. And I trust him, I respect him, and he's somebody that I really want to make him proud of me. And when you have somebody like that looking over you, and that's your coach, then that's going to push you to be better and better. And I think I keep that in the back of my mind.
Love to hear that sort of respect from a player when it comes to a head coach. And Gino has talked about the fact that he's changed his approach a little bit in recent days. Is he getting a little bit more mellow, Meg?
Well, I don't know if mellow is the word, Gary, but I think he's trying to celebrate the players' positive things that they're doing instead of criticizing everything that happens. He is so competitive and so demanding. He wants them to be perfect every possession, and that's a bit unrealistic. But he is trying this new approach. But at practice the other day, they didn't play well, and he lost his mind. So I don't think you can really change who you are.
Pretty good matchup of legendary Hall of Fame coaches here today. Gino Auriemma on one sideline, on the other, C. Vivian Stringer going for win number 900 today. Looking to join Pat Summitt and Sylvia Hatchell, Jody Conrad. Here she is with Karen Burke seconds ago.
Thank you, Gary. Coach Stringer, you have a chance to get your 900th career win tonight. Is there a secret to your success year after year?
No, just great players and outstanding coaches and, a lot of fan support. But there's no secret to it.
I think that 900 question, with respect to the milestone, are you ready for that to be over with, to focus on basketball and not yourself at the moment?
I've been ready for it about 10 games ago, so that we can focus on the things that we need to focus on.
UConn will be a stiff challenge. In what ways did your team prepare this week?
Well, we had a couple days of practice, and of course UConn is one of the great teams in the country, and it certainly is a stiff challenge. We're just going to have to play darn near perfect basketball, and hopefully we've got it in us.
Gino Auriemma joked that he was hoping you would get win number 900 versus Doug Bruno in DePaul, so there wasn't even a chance you could get it versus him. Would that be the icing on the cake if you reach that milestone?
Obviously it would. I mean, anytime that we can reach it, that would be great. But the truth of the matter is that the players have been dealing with a lot, trying to overcome that. I've tried not to talk about it. Just want to just play basketball and forget about all this other things. We've got to try to figure out how we can get in the tournament.
Thank you very much, Coach. Gary, back to you.
It has been a up and down season for Rutgers at 14-9 overall, 5-5 in the Big East. UConn coming in at 10-1 in the conference. But what about the up and down season? The struggles at times for Rutgers. What do you make of them?
Well, they're a young team. They got a bunch of freshmen and sophomores. They've had a lot of injuries too. So Vivian Stringer and her staff, they've really been challenged with how they are going to play. And she has her style though. They played that full court man-to-man. They don't shoot the ball very well from long range. So that is going to be a problem against a UConn team that is phenomenal defensively.
So it is Connecticut and Rutgers. Connecticut has won 9 straight over Rutgers, dating back to 2008. They look to make it 10 straight today. We've got starting lineups and the opening tip when we come right back. UConn women's basketball on SNY is brought to you by People's United Bank, putting business know-how to work to help your business succeed. People's United Bank, what know-how can do, member FDIC. By Cadillac. By AT&T U-verse. Find out more about AT&T U-verse. It's like TV you've never seen before at att.com/TV. Rethink possible. And by Mazda. Today's starting lineups presented by Subaru, and let's begin with Rutgers as we get a look at C. Vivian Stringer. No sight of Chelsea Lee, their young center, out of the lineup with a bruised knee. Instead, we get a look at Monique Oliver, the senior who's going to start in the middle for Rutgers. And then for UConn, the same starting lineup, Meg, that we've seen in recent days. Caroline Doty has ensconced herself in this starting lineup, and Gino's been critical of her at times, but she's responded to those discussions.
You know what, she really has, and she knows now, certainly after 5 years, she knows what her role is and what she needs to do for this team. And Gino's had some very frank conversations with her, but she's doing what she needs to do, and she's got herself in the starting 5.
Ready to go here at the rack in Piscataway, and the opening tip is won by the Huskies in their traveling blue.
It's not the usual home pink for Rutgers, though, right?
Celebrating the memory of Kay Out, the legendary North Carolina State coach, the late legendary North Carolina State coach, breast cancer survivors being honored here at Rutgers today.
Yeah, part of the Think Pink awareness. Whoa. See, Viv talked about playing perfectly. How about that three to start for Rutgers?
Syessens Davis, the 5'7" sophomore out of Neptune, New Jersey, getting Rutgers on the board first.
And this is the Chris Daly rule. That's only her second three of the season.
Knocked away inside, and Oliver comes out with it. She hurt her ankle against Tennessee. She's been hobbled ever since. And there's Monique Oliver, putting Rutgers out of the gate quickly, up 5-0.
And interesting, though, Rutgers just going back to half-court defense, not going full court. And a foul early here on Oliver. Now, Rutgers only shooting 26% from three-point range. Syessens Davis, 1 of 8. She stepped back, lost her balance. She said, wait, I'm feeling it, Gary.
Rutgers dead last in the Big East in three-point shooting, so to see them knock one down early has got to be good for their confidence.
Oh, absolutely. Critical for their confidence.
Kelly Ferris has it rejected by Benijah Blaney, whose mother played for C. Vivian Stringer at Cheney State many years ago as Dolson in the lane. Terrific footwork.
Well, that's just where Stephanie Dolson has been so consistent this year, Gary. Get the ball in that low post. Something good always happens. Either she scores or gets fouled.
C. Vivian Stringer has been using a smaller lineup as of late with 3 guards. This is one of them, Shakina Richardson, the sophomore from Neptune, New Jersey. Davis and Erica Wheeler, the others. Richardson pulling up, can't finish. And it's going back to Connecticut.
Well, look for this great matchup inside. Stephanie Dolson and Monique Oliver. See, Oliver, you got to move your feet a little bit more. Dolson's too good.
Rutgers picking up full court. There's that 55 defense we hear so much about. That C. Vivian has made it famous. A little bit of zone, a little bit of man-to-man, a couple of different principles.
And just, yeah, a lot of misery for opponents. What a screen by Dolson.
Mosqueda Lewis couldn't finish, and Rutgers coming out of there. This is Richardson running the break. Connecticut gets back and draws the foul on Bria Hartley, her first.
Connecticut foul, 14, Bria Hartley, first personal.
Connecticut 29-6 all-time against Rutgers.
And when you play here at the Rack, Gary, it doesn't matter what Rutgers' record is. There's just something about this place. You can even tell with the way Rutgers has come out, leading 5-2. There's just a certain confidence that they have here at home that they just play so well. And they're, you know, it's obviously a long afternoon. It's only 3 minutes in, but there's something special about the way they play here. And UConn has to make sure they continue to take it to them.
Richardson, a 67% free throw shooter, makes the second. It's a 6-2 game. Rutgers with the early lead. Mosqueda Lewis stepping back off the back iron a little bit too hard, and Oliver coming out of there with it for Rutgers. This is Erica Wheeler being guarded by Mosqueda Lewis. Caroline Doty levels Benijah Laney, and she picks up the foul.
Yeah, it was hard contact. She went for the great defense by Mosqueda Lewis, and you try to steal the ball coming out of a great pressure defense like that, and Doty just body blocked her. It was a good call.
First personal foul, second team foul.
Sue Blau, Kathleen Lynch, Norma Jones are officials here at the Rack today. A veteran officiating crew. The quick hands by Ferris, but she steps on the sideline, going to stay with Rutgers. Going to be very interesting to see the way Monique Oliver moves out there. She's been limited in practice for Rutgers ever since she got hurt against Tennessee.
Well, it's that deep ankle bruise, and you know, she also had an Achilles injury earlier in the year, so banged up.
Erica Wheeler delivering to give Rutgers the early 8-2 lead, right back for Connecticut. Kelly Ferris won't go down.
Connecticut launching quickly. Their shots just not dropping early. It's
kicked away by Doty going to stay with Rutgers. Rutgers out very active, Meg, both on the offensive and the defensive sides.
Absolutely. You know, UConn, Shea Ralph did this out for UConn, and she was saying that, you know, Rutgers really likes to penetrate and get in the lane, so expect UConn to kind of pack it in a little bit. Look for the blue jerseys away from the ball to always have a foot in the lane, and then they got a box.
So Essence Davis trying to beat the shot clock, which she does, and then a foul at midcourt.
Great sportsmanship by both teams. Doty, after the hard foul before, extended a hand. And there you see Rutgers picking Doty up after that foul. Nice job by Essence Davis.
This is Mosqueda Lewis, the top three-point shooter in the country. Doty, top of the key. Dolson with a foot on the three-point stripe, knocks down the long two.
She's money. Every time she catches it, she's thinking score. And I believe she's thinking she's going to make every single shot she takes.
Stephanie Dolson, both of Connecticut's buckets. It's Rutgers 8, Dolson 4. Oliver coming out to set the screen, and Richardson has a block by Ferris, who got her on the hand. So the under 16 Rutgers out of the gate very quickly. Erica Wheeler stopping on a dime. Rutgers leads it 8-4. Welcome back. Gino Auriemma not very happy. His team is down by 4 early, Meg.
No, I mean, check out what he says to his team.
What about that? What about that softer, kinder approach that we had heard about?
Well, yeah, we were talking about this new approach. During this last timeout, he not only substituted 4 players in, but he's, you know, I could read his lips at times. He says, you know what, I told you, if you don't have your head on straight, you're going to come here and get yourself beat.
Had a chance to visit with Gino a little bit before the game. He said this building, at what you alluded to at the outset, this is a tough place to play.
It's just something about it. And I don't know if they're necessarily looking forward to that Baylor matchup on Monday, but you can't look at Rutgers' record and what they've done so far this year and let that play into your mind at all. I mean, you shouldn't do it anyway, but this team is just, they're always competitive, they're well coached. I mean, they got a Hall of Fame coach.
Shakina Richardson knocks down both free throws, and Rutgers has the lead 10-4 again. Mass substitutions for the Huskies. Only Stephanie Dolson stays in the game. Mariah Jefferson, the freshman point guard, running the show now for Gino Auriemma's squad.
Yeah, we joked about that new attitude. Now, see, right there, Breanna Stewart stepping on the line, that's a mental mistake that drives Gino crazy. And you think, okay, he just lost his mind. Shea Ralph is trying to be positive and keep encouraging, but I mean, that's the kind of stuff that you just can't have happen.
Rutgers shooting it at 60% so far. This is Essence Davis giving it up for Oliver and then getting it back. Kia Stokes defending. Terrific feed inside. Oliver going to go to the foul line. Dolson didn't think it was a foul, but indeed the official saw it that way.
Well, you know, the problem is, and this is what Rutgers is really good at, dribbling into the lane and then dishing it, because the post players are going to come up and help on the ball. But see, the problem is you got to keep the ball in front of you. If you don't have that breakdown from the guard spot, then you're not going to have that problem on the backside where Dolson's going to have to step up and help and then get back to her man and commit that foul.
First foul on Stephanie Dolson. Monique Oliver, the senior from Las Vegas, Nevada, 72% free throw shooter. Makes both to extend the lead to 8.
Another Iron Woman for Rutgers, playing 100 career games.
Dolson being guarded by Oliver. Shot clock at 15. Morgan Tuck, the freshman, tied up, and that's going to be a jump ball.
Now, see, this is when you know kids are sort of losing their minds a little bit, because Morgan Tuck has never made a play like that all season long. Why 1-on-2, you know, almost 1-on-3? That's when you know that mentally things just aren't where they should be. That's never going to be a high percentage shot, no matter who you are.
Erica Wheeler, the good defense, possession arrow to Rutgers as Oliver trying to school the young player, stays with it and gets it to go. Monique Oliver.
That was just sheer will and missing the shot, but getting the offensive rebound. Rutgers is great at attacking the glass.
The lead is 10 for Rutgers, and of 920 minutes played this season coming into today's game, Connecticut has trailed for just 45 minutes and 40 seconds, and so this is not territory that they are used to.
And who else to step up there, Gary, but Steph Dolson?
Stephanie Dolson with all 6 now of Connecticut's points as Laney sets the high ball screen. And a foul inside. Man, they are calling it close and very tight in there.
That's 2 on Dolson. That's trouble. The one player. And Gino's saying to Norma, "You're kidding me, right?" That's it, Chris Daly. Get in there and keep him from getting the tee.
Chris Daly, who played her college basketball right here for Rutgers, a homecoming for her.
Yeah, she was chatting it up with all kinds of people before the game.
Double dribble called on Benijah Laney. She tried for the killer crossover, didn't happen. Five team fouls on Connecticut, just 2 on Rutgers. And they are taking it right at Connecticut, not afraid to challenge.
Wow. Rutgers has always been tough, scrappy. How about he didn't take Dolson out?
Got to be careful with the 2 fouls.
There you go. She just got away with one there.
Inside, Morgan Tuck, the freshman. Her first bucket of the game. She's made 7 of her last 13 shots coming in as Laney puts it on the deck. And that's something Gino spoke about with me before the game. The need to attack, dribble, drive, and then kick, find open players.
Absolutely.
Tough move. Erica Wheeler right down Main Street.
And that's where Rutgers is just so effective.
Mariah Jefferson has it rattle out. It's off Dolson. It's going back to Rutgers.
I can't believe he's leaving Dolson in the game. But Wheeler, the senior guard, is crafty. And a little hesitation, and then how about that? I mean, where's your backside defense? And he's just disgusted.
Number 20, Krista Evans has checked into the game for C. Vivian Stringer's Rutgers squad at the center position. It's 16-8 coming up on 12 minutes to go in this opening half, and we've got an offensive foul.
Yeah, that was, I believe that was on Krista Evans. Yeah, illegal screen right there at the elbow.
3rd team foul. Connecticut substitution.
That's her first 3rd on the team as Kia Stokes checks out and Caroline Doty checks back in for Connecticut.
Dolson's got to be very smart offensively.
That's Tuck inside. Boy, she got great position.
It was a great pass, good hands. You see the hands of Tuck to grab that ball and finish on the other side of the rim.
Erica Wheeler can't get it to go, and she is not bashful. She has more threes than anybody.
She hurt herself. Yeah, she twisted. I don't know if it was her knee or her ankle.
Erica Wheeler in obvious pain out near midcourt. Didn't see her come down. We'll take a look at it in a moment. She's grabbing that left calf, it appears, or shin.
Right, yeah, the right side.
Yeah, it is the right side. She's in some. That's the last thing they can afford right now with all the injuries that they have had.
Let's just hope it's something like a cramp in her calf or something.
Wheeler, one of 2 Rutgers players averaging in double figures at just over 10 points per game. So she's heading for the locker room. We'll check on her when we come back. Rutgers leads it by 6. Next Saturday, UConn men's basketball returns to SNY as the Huskies head to the Midwest to tip off against the Blue Demons of DePaul in the Windy City. It's UConn at DePaul. Coverage begins with City pregame Saturday, February 23rd at 7:30, only here on SNY. Before we went to break, Erica Wheeler went down with an injury to her right leg. What happened here, Meg?
Well, you could see she came down. Her right foot landed on Morgan Tuck's right foot, and you see she twisted that right ankle. Let's just hope for Vivian Stringer and for the rest of the squad that she comes back okay. You hate to see a kid get hurt.
Both teams shooting it very well. Rutgers just under 56%. Connecticut shooting it at 50%. They made 5 of their 10 shots, but they trail it by 6 here in the first half. 11 minutes and 38 seconds to go at the rack in Piscataway. Gary Apple, Megan Como. Along the way is Connecticut getting set for their Monday night showdown with Baylor, but certainly cannot overlook the Scarlet Knights today because Rutgers has come to play.
This would be a perfect time for Brianna Stewart to step up. Haven't seen her perform like we did early in the season.
Anaja Lady battling with Stewart underneath and called for the foul. That's the 4th team foul on Rutgers.
You know, Gary, when these two teams play each other, it is often so physical, and you could tell the officials must have gotten a memo. Let's keep this game called very tight.
There's Stewart not even close on the 3, and it's tracked down by Krista Evans. Rutgers looking to push the tempo at every opportunity.
Which is, you know, that's not typical of Rutgers. They like to slow things down. They don't score a ton of points.
So Essence Davis, just a 12% three-point shooter, not close, but Rutgers gets a fresh 30.
I say Rutgers is out hustling UConn to loose balls. This is more Rutgers. Deliberate offense, let the shot clock go down.
Kalia Cooper, the freshman, with the shot clock at 4, and another offensive rebound as Evans comes down with it in a fresh 30.
Great position by Evans to get that offensive rebound.
Richardson can't finish, and it's going to belong to Connecticut. Stay on top of all things UConn with up-to-the-minute Huskies news, game recaps, press conferences, and exclusive interviews on SNY. UConn.com, presented by Mercedes-Benz, part of the SNY.TV blog network. Midway through the opening half here at the rack in Piscataway. Rutgers leading Connecticut 16-10.
UConn has to be careful to not get lulled to sleep by the way Rutgers likes to play, and that's what Gino Auriemma, I'm sure partly why he's so frustrated. They're playing exactly into Rutgers' hands. Right now, Rutgers is doing a much better job of establishing their will on this basketball game.
Krista Evans, her 2nd foul for Rutgers, the 5th on the team. She's replaced by the freshman, Rachel Holloway. And there's Stewart letting it fly off the back iron. She has been in a little bit of a funk lately. Is that fair to say, Meg?
Yeah, there's no question Stewart's in a funk. And instead of trying to shoot your way out of it from 3-point range, and we saw her do this a little bit against Providence, get in there, you know, make a strong post move in the lane, get an offensive rebound, make a steal on the defensive end there. The nice job tipped away by Dolson and gotten by Doty.
Doty ahead for Stewart, who hands it to Dolson. He's going to go to the free throw line. Pretty good extra pass.
Absolutely. Maybe it's an assist that gets you back some confidence there. The nice look by Doty and the nice dish, and then Dolson fouled. And like every player, Shakina Richardson looks at the officials saying, "What? I fouled?"
Well, nobody ever actually commits a foul, do they? I mean, did you ever commit a foul when you played?
Never.
No.
You know who never committed one? Your girl, Carol Walters.
Somehow that does not surprise me. 9 minutes and 21 seconds to go in this first half. Again, if you're wondering why Rutgers is wearing the pink uniforms today, It's Play for K Pink Day here at Rutgers in memory of the former North Carolina State coach. Rutgers honoring breast cancer survivors. Kay Yao, somebody who influenced the women's college game in a very, very big way.
She was a phenomenal coach for the Wolfpack and had such an impact beyond the game. And what a wonderful tribute to her that her name is still alive throughout the game, and they're doing so much good to raise so much money to fight a horrible disease.
Stephanie Dolson going to shoot 2 for Connecticut. She's a 77% free throw shooter on the season.
Well, she's been the rock for the UConn Huskies the latter part of this year, no question about it. And it's interesting to see Dolson at the line. UConn got to the line so much against Providence, and that was because, Gary, they were really, really aggressive. They haven't been as aggressive here, again, because I think Rutgers is doing a better job of establishing their will.
Stephanie Dolson knocks down both free throws for Connecticut, gets them back within 4. This is Richardson and Davis, clear lane to the bucket. Boy, that's too easy.
Yeah, Morgan Tuck, first of all, Jefferson got beat, but Tuck, you got to be there for weak side help when you're the ball side post player.
Siasson Davis with 5 points. Nobody gets out on Dolson, but she can't take advantage of it.
So many quick shots in the offense from long range. UConn lucky here that Rutgers just turned it over with Davis's double dribble.
UConn substitutions.
Now you see Davis getting to the lane. Now look at that. I mean, the sea parted and there's no weak side help. That's a good example of when you're a post player, a big guy, and you have to know where the ball is at all times. You can't just chase your guy around like a little puppy dog. You got to know where the ball is.
Third turnover for Rutgers. Both teams have 3. There's Doty off the screen, and that's nothing but nylon.
That was a better looking shot. It had a better flow to it.
Caroline Doty, first bucket of the game. The double team on Oliver, and she took a couple of extra steps.
Well, got a little bit ahead of herself, but I like the thinking by Oliver. Remember, Dolson has 2 fouls. If Rutgers is smart, they're going to go with Dolson every single time and make her play defense down there. And for Rutgers' sake, they're hoping she's going to pick up her 3rd foul.
Connecticut has not had a lead here today. A chance to get back to even with a 3. And Dolson, good extra pass. There's Doty again, but a little too hard off the back iron, right to Jefferson.
There's number 3.
Stephanie Dolson called for her 3rd personal foul for pushing off and not happy about it.
Now, you know what? She lowered her right shoulder a little bit. I mean, I think it's a bad call. Gino's reaction, look at that. I mean, that's just the kind of day it's been. And on the road, you know, but then it begs the question, Gino, why do you have her in there with 2 fouls?
And do you trust one of your veterans? As there's Mariah Jefferson, the quick hands, 5 steals last time out. Another one right there, getting Rutgers' lead cut to a point.
Well, as bad as UConn is playing, they're down 1.
So go back to the fact that Dolson was on the floor with the
yeah, and your point is a good one. You know, do you try to trust one of your veterans? And yeah, it's a bad call, but bad calls happen in the game. Nothing you can do about it.
Erica Wheeler had it halfway down, and it came out, and Connecticut looks to run again. Brianna Stewart, the foul line jump shot, and Connecticut has their first lead of the game.
Gary, I think that's a better shot right now for Stewart to get herself back in the flow offensively. Just take the 15-footer. Don't try to make something crazy happen with a 19-20-footer.
Brianna Stewart, her first 2 points of the game. And there's Jefferson again. Mariah Jefferson in the open court, and 1.
How about her changing the game, coming in off the bench, being that spark defensively. 2 steals in a row for Jefferson. Great effort by the freshman.
Mariah Jefferson, a couple of quick steals and finishing and picking up the foul. Connecticut has the lead by 3. Connecticut has taken a 3-point lead, and one of the big reasons why, the freshman, Mariah Jefferson.
Well, this kid really has come in and made a difference. How about defensively, her anticipation? And there's a good example. If you got to step to the ball on offense, great job. And look at the clapping and the leadership I love from this kid. Coming into a tough place to play, one of the most hostile environments, her first time here. The emotion and quickness that she's brought to this team is why they have the lead right now, Gary.
And she's not big. She doesn't look huge out there, but the ability to withstand contact and finish that.
Well, I love on that layup, she kept her eye on the ball as she was getting knocked to the floor. Great focus, great determination. You'd be surprised how much she could lift, that skinny little frame.
She finishes the 3-point play. She's got 5 on the day. Connecticut leads it by 4. Erica Wheeler back in the game for Rutgers. That's good news for C. Vivian Stringer. Davis can't hang on it. Here we go again. Connecticut trying to get to the goal and run, and Jefferson wisely backs it out.
Let's see if you can run some offense. Rutgers has given them fits defensively.
Kia Stokes, the high ball screen.
Stokes has got to post up big in there.
Stewart putting it on the deck. Rejected. Ariel Butts, who does not see a lot of playing time for Rutgers, making the most of her time on the floor. Sayessens Davis.
You knew that was going to go in. That's 3 for the season now, Gary.
Came in just 1 for 8 from beyond the arc. Getting Rutgers back within a point. Stewart missing with the left hand, but stays with it. This time the right hand, and she picks up the foul.
See, watch that. This is not, look, she was off balance. It was defended well by Laney. And then how about the 3?
Shooting 2.
Sayessens Davis, 5'7" sophomore guard, a high school teammate of Shakina Richardson down in New Jersey. By the way, if there was any question about it, those 2 3-pointers by Davis, that's a new career high, or at least tied her career high.
And there's still a lot of time to play in this first half. 5.5 minutes left. But against Rutgers, it's always a grind-it-out kind of game. They bump you on every cut.
And speaking with Gino before the game, he said normally when you play against Rutgers, if you can get to 61st, you're going to win the game.
No question about it. But how about UConn's bench has really delivered here in this first 15 minutes, outscoring Rutgers' bench.
Some of that has to do with the fact that Gino was so incensed early in the game. He got most of his starters out of there and made mass substitutions. That's Wheeler. Just before the shot clock, can't get it to go, but there's Butts coming down with the offensive rebound.
Nice anticipation there by Ferris to steal that ball.
Great extra pass inside. Doty getting into Morgan Tuck.
Well, that's what Doty has to do. Get the ball to the open player at the right time. Perfect pass by Caroline Doty.
Connecticut into the game, averaging a little bit over 83 points a game as we come up on 420 in this first half. They've got just 26. Copper out of control, but she stays with it.
Well, and that's where Rutgers gets people, because they may go in and take a crazy shot, but they're there for the offensive rebound and putback, and that's where they get teams.
Kalia Copper, her first bucket of the game.
No foul there. Wow.
Rutgers substitution number 24, Shakina Richardson. Timeout.
Well, the quick hands by Kelly Ferris. running the break for Connecticut, and then the terrific extra feed. That'll get your team fired up. To support the students and the families in Newtown directly affected by the shootings at Sandy Hook Elementary School, the University of Connecticut Foundation has established the Sandy Hook School Memorial Scholarship Fund through a lead gift of $80,000 from UConn women's basketball head coach Gino Auriemma. Text the words UConn Newtown to the number 50555 to donate $10 to the Sandy Hook School Memorial Scholarship Fund through the Mobile Giving Foundation.
Scarlet cheeks here for the Scarlet R.
They love their basketball here
They
at Rutgers.
are loyal fans here.
Great feed inside, but Tuck cannot finish.
But see, that's where you gotta be tough in the lane. You can't get pushed around. And number 23, you saw hand the ball off. Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis been very quiet here.
Where has she been? Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis just with 2 shots in the game and has missed them both. Their leading scorer coming into this game at a little bit over 16 per game.
Yeah, leading the nation in three-point percentage. 0 for 1 from behind the arc. Credit Rutgers for taking her out.
Kelly Ferris losing it. Rutgers a chance to tie with a 3.
Well, there's a reason Vivian Stringer's in the Hall of Fame, because she has prepared her team perfectly for this game, and they are executing their game plan.
Copper stopping on a dime, and the freshman, the mid-range jump shot.
See, the more they can hang around, the more confidence they get, the more dangerous they become.
Rutgers back within a point. We've been nip and tuck the whole way here at the rack. Under 3 minutes to go. Opening half, Connecticut leads Rutgers 26-25. There's the freshman. Tuck rattles around and the soft roll.
How about that friendly roll at the rack?
Morgan Tuck now with 8 points, asserting herself in a big way today.
Well, and she needs to. Dolson's on the bench with 3 fouls. And Tuck was a part of that mass substitution that Gino Auriemma implemented, 4 minutes into the game? Just disgusted with the way the starters were playing.
Shot clock under 10. Richardson tripped up by Ferris with the shot clock winding down. That's a bad foul.
It is a bad foul. And here you see Jefferson got away with a foul call, but the stop and pop by Copper. And you saw her great emotion after making that. That's that confidence, that momentum that they're building. They're saying, we're in this game. We're only down 3.
Copper, a former McDonald's All-American, a 6'1" freshman guard, the most productive of the Rutgers freshmen so far, as Shakita Richardson misses the front end of a 1-and-1.
Yeah, from nearby prep charter in Philadelphia.
These last 2 minutes going to be critical for both teams, but especially for Rutgers to not let this in any way start to slip away.
No question about it. And UConn lucky that Stewart didn't get called for a walk there.
Doty being guarded by Laney. There's Stewart, the elbow jumper off the back iron and knocked away. It's going to go off Ariel Butts and stay with Connecticut, a fresh 30.
Yeah, Brianna Stewart, she has hit that freshman wall. And a lot of games, her stat line has been pretty solid. It's just not the spectacular stuff that we have seen. But right now, it's just difficult for her to knock down a shot.
There's Stewart carving out a little bit of space, but the double team. Doty might have gotten away with a walk, and there's Mosqueda-Lewis cleaning it up.
A lot of crazy things happen in that possession. UConn fortunate to come away with 2. You don't get style points here, Gary.
No, as long as they go in. The lead is 5 for Connecticut, 1:15 to go, opening half. Rutgers 5-5 in conference play. Good feed inside, and Butts can't finish. Doty knocks it away with 3 seconds on the shot clock.
Gino's looking at Morgan Tug. Are you kidding me? How does that ball get in there? Are you asleep? And he's like, I'm sorry, this new attitude, I can't do it right now. But I could understand his frustration. The ball just went right into the lane.
They've got to get a shot up quickly. Shot clock at 1 off the front iron by Wheeler. Boy, they are on Mosqueda Lewis like glue. Another turnover by the Huskies.
And that's not Stewart's fault. That is Tuck's fault, not seeing the help coming from the baseline side.
5th turnover of the game for UConn. Another nice dump down inside. And Butts finishing with the left hand.
Ariel Butts averages 6 minutes a game. She is being very productive here in this first half.
Shot clock is off. Stewart again too hard. Mosqueda Lewis, it was just a matter of time.
And they need her to touch the basketball, get as many touches.
Benai Laney throws it away as the clock runs out here in the opening half with UConn extending the lead to 33-27, but not easy. I think we found out a little about the intestinal fortitude of this UConn team playing in a very tough environment today.
Well, and we'll learn more, I think, the second 22, Gary. But Rutgers, better than their record.
Let's go down to Kareth Burke with the head coach, Gino Auriemma.
Coach, you benched every one of your starters but Stephanie about 4 minutes into this game. What did you want your starters to learn in that moment?
I don't want them to learn anything. I just needed some guys out there that weren't going to foul and put them on the free throw line every possession. I mean, we coming into this game, we said we can't put them on the free throw line, and we have 4 fouls in the first 5 possessions of the game. And that's just not acceptable. So if they're not going to do it, then I'm going to get somebody in there to whiz.
Thank you, Coach. One question. He's furious, guys. Back to you.
Gino Auriemma not happy, but Connecticut still has the lead at the half, 33-27. State Farm halftime show just ahead. Jonah Schwartz and Kara Walters back in our New York studios right here on SNY.
33-27 UConn at the half. Welcome into the State Farm at UConn halftime show. Jonah Schwartz alongside Kara Walters. And boy, what a first half it was. A lot of ups and downs for UConn. As we just heard, right at the end of the first half there, Gino Auriemma not happy with the way this game started.
To say the least, Jonas, not happy, Gino Auriemma. I don't blame him. I don't blame him. The way this game started out, Rutgers came in here with nothing to lose. UConn has the bullseye on their back. They've been more aggressive than UConn. They really have, getting to loose balls, offensive rebounds. Everything about Rutgers has been on the money. Also, they're shooting. Offensively, they don't shoot that well from three-point land, and they've done that so far.
It was a 14-4 start to this game for Rutgers, and Gino, remember, came in billing himself as a kinder, gentler, more positive coach. Certainly didn't look like it.
No, I think that's changed real quick. Wow, I mean, rightfully so. UConn made these mistakes. You can't have these lapses in your brain of not making the right decisions, like Morgan Tuck, Brianna Stewart, just not doing the right things, and you can't have that. Think about if you have, I mean, maybe you can get away with it against Seton Hall, but against this team or Baylor, you have to come smart doing the main things.
And Rutgers took advantage of the sloppy UConn play early. As you said, they were just simply more aggressive.
They were more aggressive, getting second chance opportunities, getting on the board, doing everything that C. Vivian Stringer prepared this team to do.
All right, well, after UConn went through a bunch of fouls, the freshmen stepped up. Mariah Jefferson particularly.
Well, big time, because Gino pulled his unit. Bria Hartley only played 4 minutes, and then she was pulled. Gino not happy with their play. Mariah Jefferson really stepped up. She anticipates. She gets in the passing lane. She gets rewarded for her effort, gets the three-point play on that possession. So she had these opportunities because Gino had to pull his main lineup. She took advantage of them.
And here's a look at the freshmen's work so far in this game, brought to you by State Farm. And as you can see, they are all putting in big efforts and efforts that UConn certainly needed as they came back from that 14-4 deficit to start the first half of this play. All right, coming up, we will get you ready for the second half of play. 33-27, UConn is up. What do they need to do to keep it going in the second half? We are back after this.
UConn women's basketball on SNY is brought to you by Subaru of New England. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. Your halftime stats presented by AT&T Uverse, and Rutgers out of the gate quickly, but neither of these two teams shooting it very well from beyond the arc. Connecticut just 2 of 11 in that first half. Rutgers 2 of 7, and Connecticut 16 points off turnovers on their way to the 6-point lead. Let's take a look at the teamwork replay breakdown. It is presented by Mazda.
Well, you know, from the start, Syesens Davis in charge from long range, and then gets the nice penetration to the basket. And then this is a play that's what makes Gino Auriemma lose his mind. Erica Wheeler, beautiful take through the lane, and then there the great kick for Davis's second 3 of the afternoon. Rutgers, a tight-knit group, and they played exceptionally well that first half, Gary, but someone who did not play very much that first half, Bria Hartley, only played 4 minutes when Gino made that mass substitution in the beginning of that at about the 4-minute mark, or 16-minute mark. That was it. We never saw her the rest of the half. I'll be curious to see what happens here in the second half.
Gino's somebody who stresses defense. If you're not getting it done at the defensive end, you'll find yourself, no matter who it is, at the end of that bench.
Well, and you know, the difficult thing too is that they haven't come here a lot to play at the rack. I think the last time they were here was Dolson's freshman year. This is a difficult place to play, and you have to experience it.
Right out of the opening play, it's Jefferson getting it to Stephanie Dolson, who's on the floor with the 3 fouls, and she is fouled going ahead to the free throw line. Gary App alongside Megan Colmo from the rack in Connecticut, in Piscataway.
Well, there, as you see, Dolson fouled by Davis. Dolson had to sit down with those 3 fouls in the first half, only played 12 minutes, but Mariah Jefferson getting the start here in the second half over Bria Hartley.
Stephanie Dolson, a 77% free throw shooter on the season. She's got 9 points now to lead the Huskies now into double figures.
And she's got to be very smart here in the beginning of this second half. And Rutgers can do what they started to do towards the end of her minutes out there and go at her.
Largest lead of the game for Connecticut. That's Monique Oliver, blocked inside by Dolson, who stood straight up with her arms up in the air, not going to commit that 4th foul. Jefferson getting it to Mosqueda Lewis, and Kalina Mosqueda Lewis out of the gate delivers, extending the lead to 11.
So as Juno walked away quite quickly from Kareth Burke at that interview at halftime, what he said in that locker room certainly is resonating with his players. They came out here strong, Gary.
Kalina Mosqueda Lewis delivering as UConn leads by 11.
Welcome back to the rack, where UConn leads 38-27. Not a very good first half for this UConn team. In fact, off camera, before I interviewed Gino Auriemma at half, he said, let's go, let's get this over with. He answered the one question and then marched to the locker room like he wanted to ream his players. So I took a look at their faces when they came out of the locker room for the second half. They looked shell-shocked at the shoot-around. Usually this is a team that talks it up, but they were quiet. Their faces were blank. And then Gino Auriemma went right to the bench, his hand on his chin. He was staring at a spot on the court, motionless. I think he wants to know how his team will react and recover from that poor first half, guys.
Kara, thank you. And so far, it's been a pretty good reaction, and we hit it on it in the open of the broadcast, a little kinder. You know, Gino Auriemma, we did not see that. We have not seen any sight of that so far. Syesens Davis on 3 occasions cannot deliver, going to stay, though, with Rutgers.
Well, you know, he would have to have, I think, a lobotomy for him to have a changed personality after that first half. But, you know, they didn't have a great week of practice, and you play like you practice. I mean, we talked about how he lost it the other day. Well, if you don't practice well, it's very rare for you to come out and play well.
Monique Oliver too hard off the back iron. Goes off Richardson over to Connecticut.
But the key right now for Gino, as I see him stand up on the bench, you know what? You got to still compete and coach your team, because you have a lead, you're not playing well. You know, you got to, it's tough to go on the road and play. I mean, that's That's one of the great things about this game. People go on the road, and if you can get a win there, great pass from Ferris to Dolson. But anyone can win at home. You got to go on the road and play in tough environments.
Stephanie Dolson leads everybody. She's got 12 points, in Connecticut extends the lead to 13.
And a great pass from Ferris to the outstretched arms of Stephanie Dolson.
One of the things I've always admired about Dolson, the ability to carve out that space.
Absolutely.
Richardson going right at Dolson.
Well, wisely, Gary, Dolson didn't try to block the shot. She just stood there with the hands up. She doesn't want to get a fourth foul at only the 18-16 mark.
5 points for Shakina Richardson.
Mosqueda Lewis is working hard in that low post.
Davis right up in the face of Mosqueda Lewis, and it's going to be a foul on Monique Oliver.
And she can't believe it, but Dolson did a nice job of establishing her position, didn't lead with the shoulder like she had gotten called for that foul in the first half. But see, she established the position, passed the ball away from the defense, and forced Oliver to reach across the body and commit that foul.
Still no sight of Bria Hartley. She's played just 4 minutes in the game for Connecticut. Mosqueda Lewis stays with it. Caroline Doty can't finish. That's going to be a foul on Ferris for pushing off.
And it's too bad UConn couldn't get some momentum going, as you see Hartley sitting there on the bench. She's a competitor. She hasn't taken one shot. And she wants to be out there playing.
Interesting thing is, she's played better in recent days. She seems to have found
really has
her groove. The junior from North Babylon, last 3 games, 17 of 28 from the field, 10 of 16 from 3. So she had been feeling pretty good about herself.
Right, and I think maybe and we don't know this, but my guess is a couple things happened at practice throughout the week, and then he saw it again here today, and he said, "That's it, you're done." Sometimes it's the only way the message gets across.
Is that of concern as the shot clock winds down and Richardson doesn't draw anything going to go back to Connecticut? So is that of concern here as we get late in the season, Baylor coming up on Monday and hitting the home stretch?
Yeah, it is a concern because Gino is a big guy in knowing what to expect, and he knows what he's going to get and trust his players. And if you're not going to give him the same output every day, every night, well, how can he have you out there?
Dolson can't finish. Mosqueda Lewis keeps it alive, and she appears to be in a little bit of pain under the bucket.
I don't know if she got poked in the eye. See her on the bottom of the screen. Oh, she got hit in the face.
Kalia Copper, number 2, appeared to hit Mosqueda Lewis. One of the things that she does so well, and Gino spoke about this before the game, the ability to put the ball on the floor and create for herself, which is not something that everybody can do.
Absolutely. That's... Well, and by the way, let's remember, as we look at Mosqueda Lewis talking to Rosemary Regal, she's had a concussion earlier this year, so that's of grave concern, the way she reacted to get hit in the head that way.
Mosqueda Lewis sits down, and Morgan Tuck, the freshman forward from Bolingbrook, Illinois, into the game. Dolson throws it away. Richardson way out of control, but it's going to stay with Rutgers as she gets bailed out.
Yeah, you know what? It was a heads-up play as she hit the ball off of Jefferson. She lost control of it, but hey, wisely hit it off of the blue jersey, so it's a Rutgers ball. Oh, the crowd wants a foul there. See, that's where being thin and wiry helps you. If you're a bigger kid, you're going to knock her over.
And the awareness, pretty good awareness to back off when she couldn't get the steal.
Great body control in midair.
Rutgers came out of the gate shooting it very well. They're down to 35% in the game. Davis too hard on the initial shot, and back comes Connecticut. Caroline Doty spotting Jefferson. Not afraid to let it fly. It's halfway down, but it pops out, and Tuck on the offensive rebound gets fouled. She's heading for the free throw line.
Well, Jefferson had a great ball fake to the corner that really threw the defense, and that kept her so open. See, it was a great ball fake, and then Tuck works hard to get that offensive rebound. Oh, that's a tough call. Looks like Wheeler had all ball.
Erica Wheeler, who went out in that first half with a turned ankle, but she's been back. Maybe not at her best, but I don't think there's any question they need her on the floor as Morgan Tuck knocks down the first. She's a 60% free throw shooter.
Oh, there you go. She's got contact lens issues. Well, that's a lot better to deal with that than any sort of head trauma.
I would say, as somebody who wears contacts, considerably better. The lead is 13, 42-29. Gary Apple, Megan Como from the rack in Piscataway, New Jersey. Connecticut got off to a rough start, but they seem to have found their sea legs. Benijah Laney's been very quiet and right on cue, that mid-range jump shot.
Well, it's good patience offensively by Rutgers, and they got into the middle of that UConn defense, and Laney was open.
She came in averaging over 9 points a game. That is her first bucket of the game. And a foul on Syesens Davis. Benijah Laney, whose mother played for C. Vivian Stringer at Cheney State, getting the lead to 11. C. Vivian Stringer going for her 900th career victory today. Looking to get into that elite company with Pat Summitt and Sylvia Hatchell and Jody Conrad. And Meg, one of the things she spoke about this week with me was the fact that she's afraid it's going to become a distraction for her team.
Well, she doesn't want that to be the focus. She wants it to be on the kids and the way they're playing and the great things that she's doing. And you look at her incredible resume. She brought 3 different teams to a Final Four. No one's ever done that. I mean, she's a legend in what she's done in women's basketball, but she wants it to focus. I think correctly. I respect the fact that she wants it just about the kids, not about her.
Getting to the Final Four at Cheney State in Iowa, and right here at Rutgers. There's Richardson, and very good defense by Doty, but Dolson stepped on the end line.
A break there for C. Viv and the Scarlet Knights.
Goes back to Rutgers, fresh 30 seconds on the shot clock.
UConn is going to have to work really hard to limit Rutgers to 1 shot per possession. Rutgers is so good at attacking the glass.
Krista Evans, number 20, is checked into the game for Rutgers. There's Evans. Oh, terrific.
She used Morgan Tuck. That was a great move by Evans. Morgan Tuck has got to move her feet.
Cuts the lead to 9 at 42-33 with 14.5 minutes to go here at the rack. Here's today's UConn poll question presented by Mercedes-Benz. Text your answer to 56812. And what's going to be the result of Monday's showdown with Baylor? UConn wins it by less than 5 or more. Baylor wins by more than 5. And text it. Looking forward to that matchup coming up Monday night as Brianna Stewart finishes in the lane.
That's a nice, tough move for Brianna Stewart. Those are the little things that she's going to have to do, Gary, to get herself back into the game as Rutgers turns it over here with a walk.
Brianna Stewart has 6 points now for Connecticut.
You know, she commands a lot of attention in there. Watch all the pink jerseys converge on her. But one-on-one in that lane against Kalia Copper, who's only 6'1", Copper can't guard her.
Brianna coming in averaging 13 points per game, and there she is stepping away from the bucket. It was halfway down, but comes out. It's off Ferris, back to Rutgers.
And Gino from the bench was looking at Stewart, just telling her, just shoot the ball. Don't think about it.
That's part of the growing process, is it not?
It is, and you know, he's learning, and he has said in recent weeks with Brianna Stewart, you got to tell her, go in there when you catch the ball from, you know, from behind the arc at the high post, shoot it. You know, go in there, block every shot that kid takes. She takes direction very well.
Benija Blaney in, out, and back in again. She's got 4 points. Rutgers is not going away quietly.
And never expect them to. They've struggled on the road this year, but they love playing in the comfy confines of the rack. I thought she got away with a walk there.
Maybe the European step?
I think so.
This is Richardson back for Rutgers, and Evans can't finish.
I'll tell you what, Mariah Jefferson is just a fighter.
Great feed on the right side, setting up Kelly Ferris, who buries the 3.
And you know, Jefferson really deserved the assist on that play, because she made that entire play happen with the way she toughed that defensive rebound into her hands.
Kelly Ferris, first bucket of the game, coming in averaging double figures.
Well, you know, you got to give a lot of credit to Rutgers for how they've taken UConn out of their flow. And yes, UConn hasn't played their usual game, but a lot of that credit has to go to Rutgers with the way they've defended them.
The Huskies 4 of 15 from beyond the arc, and there's Keena Richardson answering right back for Rutgers.
And think about it, Richardson is a 23% three-point shooter coming into this game.
Rutgers, the worst three-point shooting team in the Big East, but they've made 3 of them today.
It goes to show you, it doesn't matter what it says on paper, you got to show up and play the game. And Vivian Stringer told Kareth Burke before the game, we have to play near perfect. Well, you know, they've played pretty well, and they're in this game.
Rutgers does have 4 second-half comebacks this season. They've knocked off Davidson and Marquette, Villanova, and Cincinnati when trailing at the half. They're down by 9.
Oh, you got to give it to Dolson. She's working so hard in there.
Has to be careful not to pick up her 4th personal.
Doty needed to get more air under that ball.
Monique Oliver knocks it away, and back come the Scarlet Knights. Pass deflected. There's Mariah Jefferson cruising in.
Mariah Jefferson with the basket.
It's just great defense, and that's where UConn is at their best. Their offense oftentimes comes from their defense, but we haven't seen it a lot today. Well, here, how about the freshmen combine here? Tuck to Jefferson. And looked like Rutgers was trying to get a little momentum. And Gino's, he's a little animated and fired up in there.
I haven't seen Gino this fired up over an extended period in a long time.
Well, you know, you have to think about it. Yeah, was he aggravated and ticked off at his team? Absolutely. But you know what? He also has to remember, just like he doesn't want them to get down and pout and feel sorry for themselves, he can't either. He's their leader, and they're going to look to him for how to behave and how to act, but particularly the young guys. The old guys, they don't care as much, but he's depending on a lot of young guys, and they look to him.
Well, there's 3 freshmen on the floor right now for Connecticut.
That's pretty telling. Now, Mosqueda Lewis hasn't gone back in. I just saw trainer Rosemary Regal over talking to her again. Not sure if it's just the contact situation or what.
Monique Oliver losing the handle. And Doty comes out with it. Boy, Jefferson, great recognition. Right back to Doty. Look at Stephanie
How about
Dolson.
that? 6'5", diving on the floor.
Shot clock at 15. There's Dolson. Boy, that's a thing of beauty.
It really is, and it makes this team impossible to defend. Because if they took away all the perimeter stuff, well, okay, well then flash to the high post and knock it down. Well, you can't take it all away, and she's doing a phenomenal job, Gary, of being so consistent.
Stephanie Dolson, 5 of 7 from the floor so far today, playing most of this game in foul trouble.
She's been impressive with her mental toughness here this second half to not pick up a fourth early.
Kelly Ferris ties up Benijah Laney and Stephanie Dolson, all 6'5" of her, not afraid to get dirty, to get on the floor, and man, she has extended her range this season as she leads everybody with 14, and Connecticut leads by 13. Gary Apple, Megan Como back at the rack in Piscataway. UConn up by 13, but it has not been easy today, trailing for much of the first half, and just beating the shot clock is Shakita Richardson, and it's going back to Connecticut.
But you can see a little more urgency now by Rutgers, and when they get down and the game starts, the time starts going down, these guys fight even harder. Shea Ralph even said in their scouting report, it's unbelievable the way they press and the way they play when they feel themselves backed into a corner.
Is it good for them getting a test like this before Baylor on Monday night?
Oh, I think so. I think so, as Dolson walks. Getting a little bit too carried away there with Steph Dolson. But yeah, this is good for UConn because, it's the adversity that they face and how they deal with it. And they're going to, that'll be their biggest challenge on Monday. But you know what? Monday, this game is much more important than Monday because this is for the Big East.
Benijah Laney over midcourt, being guarded by Kelly Ferris. Jefferson on Richardson. Shot clock under 10. A great job by Doty picking up. And a shot clock violation.
Yeah, that was the best defensive possession of the afternoon.
Before the game, Sue Wicks, the former All-American here at Rutgers, honored alongside Tim Pernetti and C. Vivian Stringer, 3-time Kodak All-American, played for the Liberty in the WNBA.
I mean, just one of the great people of the game. I mean, she was an unbelievable player. You saw her raise her hand and wave to the fans here, still love her. She had a great WNBA career. And just one of the quality people that sports are great, that you get to meet people like Sue Wicks and get to know them. She's just stellar.
Played here from 1984 through 1988 as Morgan Tuck is hammered on the way to the bucket. She's going to go to the free throw line. She was the 1988 Naismith Player of the Year.
I mean, look at that, 2,700 points. She was, and when she got the ball in the lane, it was money. It's not often that players average a double-double, but that's what will get you in the Hall of Fame. And up there next to June Olkowski, another outstanding player here, was one of Chris Daly's teammates. There she is.
Also number 15,
see, and Chris Daly was a part of that team. Her banner is also up there, the 1982 NIAW National Champion.
Chris
banner.
was a couple of years older.
Yes.
Correct? 2 years older, if I'm not, maybe, no, a little bit more than that. I think she was an 82 grad, so.
Yep.
And Sue in 88.
Yeah, she was older than Sue.
Yeah.
And I'll joke with Chris that she's a lot older than me. She won't be happy with that.
Connecticut has the lead by 15. It's 53-38. 8.5 minutes to go here from the rack in Piscataway. Still no sight of Bria Hartley. She's played just 4 minutes in this game for UConn.
Yeah, Gary, I wouldn't expect her to get in there.
Kalia Copper in traffic.
What are they going to call here? Was it out of bounds first, or was it a shot clock violation?
Connecticut substitution.
Shot clock violation. Next Saturday, UConn women's basketball returns to SNY as the Huskies head to Storrs. They host the Pirates on Senior Day in a conference showdown at Gamble. UConn versus Seton Hall. Coverage begins with pregame next Saturday at 3:30, only here on SNY.
And all the Senior Day activities will be aired. Always a fan favorite day in Connecticut. They do it right.
Well, the fan base it's so rampant.
It's unbelievable.
They get so invested.
And you know, Gary, I remember when nobody cared about women's basketball. Back when I started in 1988, started playing, the fan base just started then. But you see what it is now. It's remarkable as UConn runs down an offensive rebound.
Kelly Ferris gets Connecticut a fresh shot clock. There's a hold on the way to the bucket. So UConn has opened the lead to 15 with 7 minutes and 49 seconds to play in the second half.
Basically what it is just a great game that hopefully people will tune in like the Notre Dame game was, you know, and everybody goes, wow, what a game, you know, it was great basketball for, you know, both teams. Monday night's going to be, yeah, it's going to be a show. It's going to be a show.
Gino Auriemma from the Gino Auriemma Show. Airs Friday night here on SNY, and so we get set for this Monday night showdown. #1 team in America, Baylor, and the #3 team in America, the Connecticut Huskies.
Well, everyone talks about Brittany Griner, you know, and she is such, obviously, a dominant player. You know, I would say she's the best center in the country. I think we'll know who the best center is after that game. But Odyssey Sims does so much for them in their backcourt. I think it's going to be a game where everybody else steps up and determines.
And you know, that's one of the things that my usual studio partner, Carol Walters, talks about that makes Baylor so tough is the fact that they have not just Brittany, but as you mentioned, Odyssey Sims, and that's a pretty good second banana to have. I mean, Jordan had Pippen and James has Wade. You need that second
Absolutely.
player.
And think about it. They have their entire team back from the team that they played the national championship game last year. I mean, they've got everybody back. So that experience is a valuable commodity.
Shot clock winding down. Richardson got bailed out by Caroline Doty, who picks up the foul. Just the third team foul by Connecticut here in the second half with 7 minutes and 22 seconds left in the second half.
You know, as much as we've talked about this game and how it's been sort of a disjointed game, but as we take a look at these poll results, what do we got here, Gary?
42% of our viewers believe that UConn is going to win by 5 points or more. So a lot of optimism out there.
Well, I'm sure the team will appreciate the positive sentiments from their fans. Gino will settle for just 1 point.
Poll question presented by Mercedes-Benz. The last time, by the way, Baylor paid a visit to the XL Center, November 16th, 2010, and Connecticut got a nail-biter of a win, 65-64.
Yeah, Bria Hartley played phenomenal in that game.
Shot clock at 10. This is Kelly Ferris, two-man game with Dolson getting it back. Brianna Stewart, not a lot of rotation on the basketball, but there's Mosqueda Lewis back into the game and giving UConn a fresh 30 seconds.
See, Rutgers is so good defensively, they make it so difficult for UConn to run their offense. And that's just a tough angle to try to make that pass, Caroline Doty. And you see Gino almost walking off the court in the middle of the screen. Sometimes just make the easy play. Don't try to make it look pretty.
9th turnover of the game for Rutgers, for Connecticut. Rutgers has 15 of them. Mariah Jefferson averaging 17 minutes a game this season, but over the last 3 games, as Holloway scores inside, has played an average of 23 minutes per game, and she's getting a lot of run today.
Yeah, she is, and I don't see Doty going back in. Auriemma was quite aggravated when he just took her out, but I love that play there by Rutgers. A tremendous pass from Evans to Holloway.
Kelly Ferris going to go to the free throw line. The foul is on Krista Evans.
Now the nice turn in the corner, good help defense. But you see the foul. See, that's where you got to get over with your feet. It's not enough to just get there and try to swat the ball away. Get there with your feet, maybe take a charge.
Kelly Ferris, a 75% free throw shooter on the season. First one is off the back iron.
You know, at some point there needs to be, I think, a bigger sense of urgency by Rutgers. There's 5:59 to play. They're down 13. They got to get the tempo up a little bit here and create some more possessions and opportunities to score.
Well, we talk about that 55 defense that Steve Vivian Stringer is known for over the years, and again, a little bit of man in it, a little bit of zone. Do they need to amp that up?
Yeah, they do. And there you see UConn giving Rutgers a taste of their own medicine.
Mariah Jefferson doing what she does so well, and Mosqueda Lewis had the feet set, couldn't finish. And there's, it seems like Jefferson is involved in every play.
And she just gets more and more confident, and that's what you need, particularly as a first-year player.
Shot clock now at 10. It's going to be an offensive foul on Brianna Stewart. An illegal screen.
Well, there Rutgers gets a break. And now, let's see, let's take a look at this. She goes to set the screen.
Boy, I'm not sure I saw that.
Her feet weren't moving. You know, you can't lean your body in.
Close.
That was, yeah, I think that one could have they could have let that one go.
Benijah Laney falls down, stays with it. Syessens Davis, nothing but air. Boy, Kelly Ferris getting it back. Great two-man game and going to head back to the foul line.
I think that was the first back cut that we've seen all afternoon, because I don't think UConn has done an outstanding job of attacking, but a lot of that is due to Rutgers' defense.
Ferris shooting 2.
When Connecticut is at their best, they share the basketball.
Oh, there's no question about it. They're unselfish, and they do share the basketball, and they take care of the basketball too. They lead the country with 21 assists a game.
3, Wheeler, 34, Oliver.
Monique Oliver is back into the game, as is Erica Wheeler.
And when you have a senior like Kelly Ferris, who is so unselfish and leads by example, the other kids, they follow her lead.
Ferris 1 of 2 at the free throw line. She's got 4 points for Connecticut. Coming up on 4.5 minutes from the rack in Piscataway. The lead is 15 for the Huskies.
They're looking to isolate Davis.
Evans.
Evans has come in and given some really solid minutes here this afternoon.
Krista Evans knocks down the jump shot, cutting the lead to 13.
I say there's a lot of time in this game.
Jefferson, 2 shots.
You wonder, though, with Rutgers, 13th in the Big East in scoring, last in the Big East in free throw percentage, 13th in the Big East in field goal defense. You wonder, when you look at those numbers, do they have a late run in them?
You know what? Because it's Rutgers, Connecticut, and because it's at the rack, anything is possible. And, you know, for this group, for this Rutgers team, you know, a win like this could turn everything around for them. It's just sometimes you need that one win to take you over the hump.
Brianna Stewart, quick first step. Evans comes over to shut down the baseline, and then she throws it away.
And Gino Auriemma has seen enough. He's sending Morgan Tuck to the scorer's table.
4 minutes to go, just under. Connecticut by 14.
Jonas Schwartz alongside Carol Walters in SNY Studios. Coming up on the postgame, we're talking about Bria Hartley's playing time. You surprised we didn't see her in the second half?
I'm not surprised, and we'll tell you after the game.
All right, we'll send it back down to the rack to Meg, and a man who always has a sea legs, Gary Apple.
Jonas, Kara, thanks. We look forward to the post-game broadcast here on SNY as we get a look at Gino Auriemma. Just got word that Baylor did their part today They knocked off TCU 78-45. They're 24-1 on the season, so they appear to be rolling into form as they get set for the Monday showdown.
Well, and you know what? You at least hope that your team is playing their best basketball, at this stretch. And UConn has shown some good stuff the last several weeks. But, Gary, as we've talked for most of this game, they've had a bad week of practice. So I would have been surprised if they came out here and played great today.
Richardson got caught in the air. That's a turnover. That's 17 turnovers for Rutgers now, and still no sight of Bree Hartley. I think you're right. I don't think we're going to see her back in the game, Meg.
No, I would be surprised. Let's remember, Gino's pretty stubborn. And he's trying to teach her something. And trust me, there's no better way to learn something as a player than to sit on that bench.
Mariah Jefferson with the shot clock expiring. Going to hear what Gino has to say about that on the People's United Bank postgame show coming up following Connecticut and Rutgers. Under 3 minutes to go now. Connecticut's lead is 14. It's 58-44. Rutgers, as you say, needs to up the urgency.
Yeah, take it to the basket, get open shots, offensive rebound.
Wheeler misses, and so does Oliver. I don't think Wheeler has been the same since she went down with a turned ankle in the first half.
No, she definitely hasn't. It's hard to tweak your ankle the way she did. I mean, she came down with all of her body weight and landed on Morgan Tuck's foot. I'm impressed that she came back in.
She averages over 10 a game. She's got just 4 for Rutgers, and there is the freshman Morgan Tuck. 30% three-point shooter. Buries it.
Boy, will that change this team if Tuck can start knocking down threes. That bone bruise in her right knee has really hampered her. She's incredibly talented. We just haven't seen enough of it in games.
The lead is 17. That is a good move by Richardson, and then she can't finish.
Too bad she couldn't finish that. And again, I'm surprised they're not pressing it. I don't know if it's because UConn is good with the basketball, but as they commit the foul there, I mean, there's a minute 42 left.
Foul 44, second personal foul.
And, Tuck out there saying, but how about it, though? When she caught that, she was thinking shot the whole way. I like the confidence on the freshman. Mosqueda Lewis been quiet here today, a quiet 10 points. But, Gary, we've been talking a lot about, Gino, his frustration and blah, blah, blah. The fact is, they came in here, didn't play their best. You're not always going to play perfectly, but to come in and you're playing against a team who's knocking down shots that they don't normally knock down. And to be up at this stage in the game and looking like they're going to get the win, to come in and win on the road in a tough environment, that's what it's about. It's not always going to be pretty, but find a way to win.
Kalina Mosqueda Lewis extending the lead to 19. By the way, Morgan Tuck has 15 points to lead Connecticut today.
I don't think if you would have said before the game that Morgan Tuck was going to lead this team in scoring, I don't know if anyone would have predicted that.
Monique Oliver dumping it down for Kalia Copper, but before she gets the shot off, she travels.
She hopped. Got a little ahead of herself. And that's where you need that patience in the lane. The freshman heard footsteps.
Stephanie Dolson, by the way, has gone to the bench with 14 points. And again, it goes back to the fact that with the early fouls, she was able to stay in the game for most of the game and be productive.
And if you can find a silver lining to those early fouls in the 12 minutes she played in that first half only, well, her legs are going to be pretty rested for Monday night.
Jefferson almost has it stolen and then gets it back, and a foul on Richardson.
I'm telling you what, I love the feistiness and the fight in Mariah Jefferson.
Personal foul.
It's got to be a career high in minutes for her.
Without question, almost 30 today, and I think you can see the maturation minute by minute.
Absolutely. You can tell that she wants the ball in her hands. She wants to be on the free throw line late in the game. Nothing but twine.
And listen, Rutgers, as we talked about the outset, they've had an up and down season, but they've had back-to-back top 3 recruiting classes, so they've got some talent. I know they're a little bit beat up and banged up, but there's quality talent on the floor.
Oh, it's quality talent and a Hall of Fame coach. It's a pretty good combination, but you know, chemistry is a funny thing, and like you say, the injuries that they've had have wreaked havoc on this club.
Monique Oliver gets fouled on her way to the bucket.
First personal foul. Team foul number
Today's co-players of the game are presented by People's United Bank. And Megan, it's the freshmen who are on center stage today.
Well, and I love it because Tuck, you can see the numbers, 15 points, 4 rebounds, but I just love the effort by Mariah Jefferson. You know, her stat line may not wow you, but she was a critical piece of the puzzle for UConn here today, particularly in that first half when Rutgers had the lead. Mariah came in, had those 2 quick steals, and changed the momentum of the game.
Brianna Stewart back in. Kelly Ferris done for the day with 5 points. 1 minute and 6 seconds to go. It's salted away for Connecticut. The lead is at 20, 65 to 45. And man, look at Mariah Jefferson. She's got a terrific handle.
She does. And she's got wheels on her feet. That girl is fast. But she's a different player today than she was in November. Much more confident.
The ability to take it into the lane and then spot the open teammate. Great vision out there.
Man, if she made that, she would have made it look like we knew what we were talking about.
Beat the shot clock. I'm not sure that's the shot she wanted.
No, you're right. But she knew the shot clock was winding down, so she had to take it.
Heather Buck committing the foul as she is checked into the game for Gino Auriemma. Final 35 seconds, and so C. Vivian Stringer going to be denied that 900th victory once again. She'll have a chance to do it again coming up on Tuesday when the Scarlet Knights pay a visit to Syracuse.
Not an easy place to play, Syracuse.
Ranked 23rd in the country, the Cuse. Well, that can begin to wear on you after a while as the games go by.
Oh, and I feel bad for Stringer. You know, she just wants to get it over with. I mean, it's a wonderful accomplishment that she'll relish after she's done coaching, but oh, it weighs on you.
Final 10 seconds. Mariah Jefferson dribbling out the clock as Connecticut, behind for much of the first half, settles down to get the 65 to 45 victory over the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Gino Auriemma, not a happy man early on. Going to be very interesting to hear what he says following today's game. We'll hear from Gino coming up just a little bit as Connecticut goes to 24-1 on the season, 11-1 in the Big East.
But Gary, again, I think we got to keep this in perspective. It's a win on the road against a very, very tough opponent in a hostile place to play. I think at the end of the day, you got to go out there and play, and they came away with a win, and you got to find a way to enjoy it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Rutgers.
Interesting, as we talked about during the broadcast, Gino said before the game, get to 61st against Rutgers, and pretty good chance you're going to win. Well, they have 65, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, absolutely. They held Rutgers to 45. Rutgers only averages 57 a game on the season. But you know what? Anytime you can go somewhere and not play your best and win by 20, well, that's pretty good.
Let's go down to the court. Karen Burke standing by.
I'm joined by Morgan Tuck. You guys got the win, but you really had to gut it out. Have you ever seen Gino Auriemma so angry at halftime?
I don't think I have. You know, sometimes that's happened. We definitely can't do that on Monday night. So, you know, hopefully we'll just take it as a learning experience and improve for Monday.
Are you guys already thinking about Baylor and the mental things you'd like to change for that kind of competition?
Yeah, we're thinking about it, but I think the thing we're focused on the most is just making sure we're mentally ready as a team. We can't have another game like this, you know, in the postseason and the rest of the season. So right now we just have to come together as a team and make sure we're mentally ready every night.
Coach Auriemma gave a lot of minutes to his bench tonight, especially the freshmen. Do you see him trusting you guys more as a unit?
Yeah, I think so. You know, that's part of, he's definitely been getting on us, the three freshmen, and, you know, we just have to take it and respond to it, and, you know, we just have to come out and play and not think, oh, we're freshmen, we have to do this or that. We just have to come out and play.
And you had an excellent game as well. Do you want to show Coach Auriemma that you're ready for a high level of competition?
I definitely want to. You know, I want to prove that I should be out on the court and prove that I can contribute to the team. And, you know, my teammates did a great job of including me today, and I just, you know, I'm just glad I had the opportunity.
Morgan, thank you. Gary, Meg, back to you.
Gareth, Morgan, we thank you both. Morgan Tuck, one of 4 Connecticut Huskies in double figures. Connecticut getting the win by a final of 65-45 to go to 24-1 on the season, 11-1 in the Big East. The next men's game here on SNY for Connecticut going to take on DePaul next Saturday at 7:30. Our next UConn women's game on SNY against Seton Hall also next Saturday at 3:30. It is senior day. Jonas Schwartz, Carol Walters standing by in our New York studio for People's United Bank postgame right now.
All right, Gary, thank you very much. A terrific job by you on the call of today's game. Now, the last time we saw our audience, we had just seen Gino Auriemma very, very angry, obviously lit into the Huskies at halftime, but they came out in the second half looking much crisper. What did he say to them at half that got them to pull away this way?
It's a family show, Jonas. I don't think I can say exactly what was said in the locker room, but obviously it motivated this UConn team. So many things. The approach was so much better in the second half, getting everybody involved, crisp passes, being more aware, stopping penetration, getting the freshmen involved, which was tremendous in the second half, getting them involved with the game. Stephanie Dulson continued to shoot well from the outside. So many things kind of pulled together in the second half.
Mariah Jefferson was good in the first half. She was also good in the second half. What'd you see out of her?
Her in the passing lanes, her anticipation, her steals, her defense led to points on the offensive end. She gets the three-point play on that possession, but just a confidence about her. She got those minutes because Bria Hartley only played the first 4 minutes of the game. She was benched by Gino. Mariah took advantage of it.
All right, as we look at who is lighting up the boards tonight, brought to you by Connecticut Lighting Centers. Big game for the freshmen today. I mean, if you take a look, I mean, just great games. Jefferson, the 5 boards. Tuck, the 15 points. Stewart, 6 points, 3 boards, 2 steals. And when you look at the freshmen, I mean, Tuck just did a fantastic job throughout this game.
Yes, just the confidence that she exuded. I mean, this is a player who's had ups and downs all season. She's had those injuries. She hasn't been in a lot of games as far as a lot of minutes and made a difference and an impact to the game. She got the opportunity in this game. Like she said, she wants to prove to Gino Auriemma that she's capable of making an impact in the game. And she certainly did that here today.
All right, now, Steph Dolson, 3 early fouls, had to sit, not 1 more foul in this game. How did she sort of keep herself from getting into further foul trouble?
I think that shows the maturity of Stephanie Dulson. I think in the past that might not have been the case, but she played smart. We saw her get that 3rd foul early. We were surprised Gino kept her in, but he has trust and faith in the veteran with Stephanie Dulson, and she played careful. It's a fine line, Jonas. You don't want to play scared to get that foul, but you also want to play smart, and Stephanie Dulson's a smart player, and she proved that in the second half.
Now, one of the things that may have affected was UConn out-rebounded in this game. That is obviously something they need to change for Monday big time.
Compared to their margin that they normally have in out-rebounding teams, I think it ended up even on the boards. But at times, Rutgers just offensive rebounds. I mean, just they had more heart in the first half getting those rebounds, and that was one of the things going into the locker room. Gino, there's some things you can't control how many shots go down, but you can control effort, and those are the things that got Gino Auriemma so upset.
Well, apparently something Bria Hartley did got him upset as well. Played 4 minutes. We did not see her after the initial 4 minutes of this game. That did not surprise you, though.
It didn't, and let me tell you why. Gino often does things like that. He did it with Stephanie Dulson last year, benched her in that Marquette game. When they played Notre Dame next, she came out and had a stellar game against Notre Dame, even though they lost that game. He kind of does that. He'll pick a person and put them in Chateau de Bow Wow, as I call it. And I think that's what happened with Bria Hartley. She wasn't going to go back in the game. It just, you know, maybe he'd say he doesn't do that on purpose, but it tends to happen an awful lot, that he does that. And he knows Bria Hartley is the type of player that can handle that. Not all players can handle it. Now it will be really interesting to see how she responds in that Baylor game for being benched.
All right, now, after the last game, Gino Auriemma is waxing poetic about positivity, devil-may-care attitude over mistakes. That was very short-lived now, wasn't it?
It was. It was short-lived by Gino. That's why you know Gino is full of it sometimes. I mean, but again, we said earlier, you understand some teams are motivated differently, and apparently he thinks that this team is motivated more by positive things. But at some point, early on, just not happy with this team, and he told them about it. But they can't make some of the mistakes that they made today against a team like Baylor. Now, I don't necessarily think they were thinking ahead. Rutgers, give them a lot of credit. They played hard. They came out early and often. Like, we're not scared. We're going to take it right at Connecticut. But some of the little things that they did, Gino reminded them, hey, you can't play like this against certain teams or you're going to get beat.
All right, we are just getting started here on the People United Bank UConn postgame show. Coming up, we will hear from the head coach, Gino Auriemma, who was not all that thorough throughout parts of this game. Also, Caroline Doty, and we will preview the Baylor game. 65-45, UConn gets the win. We are back after this. All right, so here's how it all went down at the rack. UConn taking on Rutgers. C. Vivian Stringer looking for career win number 900. Right out of the gate, Rutgers hitting on all cylinders. Essence Davis from downtown.
I mean, they got going early and often, came out just aggressive, getting to the basket, scoring from the outside, which they typically don't do.
Erica Wheeler, the long two, Rutgers up 6. Moments later, Stephanie Dolson answers with showing some touch of her own.
Well, and she's consistent. She's been consistent from that spot all season long. I'm surprised people don't get the scouting report. She's capable of knocking it down from there.
And there's Gino Auriemma, not happy at all. No positivity out of him right there. So how would the team react? Well, out of that, Brianna Stewart cuts to the basket and out of bounds with the ball. So UConn with the turnover. Next possession, Morgan Tuck goes out, loses possession on the jump ball. Another turnover. And moments later, Monique Oliver sticks with the play, gets the layup to go 14-4 Rutgers.
Those are the things that make Gino so furious. Those mental mistakes, make good decisions, and they didn't do that in all 3 possessions.
Nice look down low to Tuck. UConn down 6. Next Rutgers possession. Wheeler drives down the heart of the lane for the layup. 16-8 Scarlet Knights. 16-12 now Rutgers. Davis an open path on the weak side.
That's what I call the touchless car wash right there. Nobody was in sight at all. The wide open, that's another thing that bothers Gino.
But here's the defense. Mariah Jefferson.
I mean, just fantastic. Getting in the passing lanes, her defense becomes the offense.
And then Stewart, the mid-range jumper. UConn with their first lead, 19-18. Next, Rutgers possession. Jefferson once again turning defense into offense.
And this time she gets rewarded with a 3-point play. She focuses on making that shot.
UConn up 4, seconds remaining in the half. UConn up 3. Kalina Mosqueda Lewis from downtown. UConn up 6 at the break, but Gino not happy. Here he is at the half.
I just needed some guys out there that weren't going to foul and put them on the free throw line every possession. I mean, we coming into this game, we said we can't put them on the free throw line, and we have 4 fouls in the first 5 possessions of the game, and that's just not acceptable. So if they're not going to do it, then I'm going to get somebody in there who is.
Boy, and he meant it, because in the second half, Bria Hartley on the bench did not see any time, as a matter of fact. As you say, sending a message to her before a pretty big game against Baylor. UConn up 8. Mosqueda Lewis kick-starting things after the break from downtown.
And that's her spot. In transition, you can't leave her open from there.
Moments later, Kelly Farris. Great look to Dolson.
Great look, and that's Stephanie Dolson getting good position, putting her hand up and leading the big girl to the basket.
And how about this dribbling by Jefferson to set up Farris?
And that's what she did all night. Not only scored defensively, but got the assist.
So UConn continued to pull away. Dolson, you mentioned she can hit it. They don't guard her. Why?
That's the high post. Stephanie's worked on that game all season long. It should be in everyone's scouting report.
And Tuck from beyond the arc for 3. UConn, a gutty win on the road. 65-45 over Rutgers, as C. Vivian Stringer needs to wait yet another day for win number 900. Tuck, 15 points, 5 of 7 from the floor, 5 boards. A good gutty game by Connecticut as they pulled it out. After the game, our Kareth Burke caught up with Caroline Doty.
I'm with Caroline Doty, and Caroline, when a coach benches his starters in the first minutes of a game, that is powerful. What is the message he was sending you guys?
I mean, it's all mentality. That's what he said at shoot-around this morning, and it's our job to come out with the right mindset, and we didn't tonight, so we had to send that message. I mean, it's unacceptable this time of year to come out like that, and we just got to bounce back, and you can't let that happen the rest of the road.
When UConn is struggling, do you turn inward? Do you go to your veteran experience and try to right the ship?
I mean, it's a team thing, you know. Try to stay composed as best as possible. I mean, the whole veteran thing, it only helps, you know, when it comes to, for myself. I can't really expose it with the team, but I mean, it's a team effort, and we all have to be there for each other, and we're willing to lift each other up, but if it's a team effort like that, it's unacceptable, and we have to do a better job of coming out.
We saw Bria Hartley sit on the bench for the second half. She is a competitor. How do you see her reacting to watching this game?
She'll be fine. Yeah, she'll be fine. After this game, she's going to realize that, you know, we need her. We need her to come out and be prepared. She's not feeling too well today, which always is a bummer. But she sees tonight that we need her, and I think she'll bounce back from it strong.
Coach Auriemma turned to Mariah Jefferson. She had a great game. How do you see her developing?
It's funny. During the game, she turned to me and she goes, "I'm going to get a few steals, so have my back if I miss them." And then after that, she just went off. And she's a competitor as well, and if she keeps improving like this, she's going to be an unbelievable player for this team.
With the Baylor game next, do you see some mental things that the Huskies need to work on ahead of that one?
Everything. I mean, just from shoot around, from practice, our mentality just needs to change. We need to be stronger. We need to be able to run our plays, rebound, and accept challenges that coach throw at us. What tonight was unacceptable.
Thank you. Caroline.
Boy, it's always a nice thing for a program to win by 20 and call it unacceptable,
right.
Isn't it? Now, you just heard Caroline talk about, you know, polling all the starters but one. I know you weren't surprised with what happened with Bria Hartley, but were you surprised that Gino Auriemma pulled all the starters but one?
Right, you're right. Stephanie Dolson was the only one that stayed in that game. And no, Gino sends messages. Thankfully, he has the luxury of his bench doing the work to recover for those starters out. But no guards until the 8-minute mark in that first half. It was all the post play. It was Morgan and Stephanie. He didn't have any guards stepping up to help out. So we wanted to send a message, and I think it worked. Bria, we can't know if it worked until Monday, but the other players came back in the second half. But like Caroline Doty said, that's unacceptable, and a team wins by 20.
Yeah, it really is a good place to be. All right, coming up here on the People's United Bank UConn postgame show, we'll hear from the coach himself. Gino Auriemma's postgame news conference promises to be fiery. We'll see what he has to say, and we'll get you ready for the big Baylor game on Monday. 65-45, UConn gets the win. We are back after this. All right, let's show you the all-time career wins list presented to you by Mazda. Of course, Pat Summitt on top. C. Vivian Stringer still waiting for 900 and a tie for third place. And Gino Auriemma, 828 career wins with the effort tonight by UConn. So what did he think of the effort? Well, here he is after the game. Here's Gino's post-game news conference.
Carl Adamek, Journal-Inquirer. Gino, can you give us a Reader's Digest version of what you didn't like in the first 4 minutes to make you do the substitutions that you did?
Well, we had a game plan going in, and one of the things that we wanted to make sure that we didn't do was put Rutgers on the free throw line unnecessarily, you know. And I thought that all we did right those first 4 minutes was foul. I don't think we accomplished anything else. We didn't run offense, we didn't play defense, we didn't do anything. The only thing we did well in those first 4 minutes was foul. So I figured the next group couldn't do any worse, and they did better.
Gareth Burke with SNY. Coach, Caroline told me that Bria wasn't feeling well, and we saw her sit all of the second half. What combination of illness versus performance was that for Bria?
Well, it couldn't be performance because she didn't play. So, you know, she wasn't healthy at practice yesterday. She didn't feel good last night at dinner, and she wasn't great this morning at shoot-around. So she gave it a shot, and it just didn't work out.
So not punishment?
No.
Any questions? Any questions?
Rich Elliott, Connecticut Post. Gino, just assess the contribution you got from Morgan today.
Well, we said in the locker room afterwards that between Morgan and Mariah, I thought the two of them were exactly what we needed. We need to be able to throw the ball in the low post to somebody other than Stephanie, and be able to come out of there with
something, a bucket, a foul, or something, and she gives us an opportunity to do that. And you know, I've been saying that if we ever get her healthy, you know, she'll be a big contributor to what we're doing, and I'm glad that she was able to do that today.
You, I think, are a big fan of the Saturday and Monday because it gets you ready for the NCAA tournament at the end goal in March.
Mm-hmm.
You got a big one Monday. This was a physical, tough game.
Yeah.
Is that, I mean, that are you looking for to get you prepared for the turnaround coming months from now, having a tough game on Saturday and then playing a good team on Monday night?
Yeah, the Big East just, you know, thinks that we're Superman. You know, we can play at Rutgers on Saturday and then have, you know, Baylor on Monday because we're just better than everybody else, so we can handle that. I remember Notre Dame at Providence, I think, before their game against Tennessee. So we're just held to a higher standard than everybody else. So we just got to, you know, we just got to do what we got to do. You know, this is not an easy place to play. It's not an easy place to play under any circumstances. You know, and especially when you've got a Saturday, Monday like we have right now. And it does take a lot out of you. You know, we knew that going in, that this was going to be exactly the kind of game that it turned out to be. You know, a really physical, hard-fought kind of game. But, you know, as you said, I think that's what happens in the NCAA tournament as well. You know, you've got to play a tough game on a Saturday or Sunday, and then you got to come back 2 days later and play a real good one, a real tough one again. So I'm a big fan of them, and, you know, they've helped us over the years, and they've helped us this year.
All right, so you can see the coach is thrilled with the schedule makers and very happy to have the 1 day off before playing Baylor on a Monday. He talked also about the sloppiness. Is there a correlation? Is it possible they were looking past this game and that's why there was the sloppiness early?
I mean, potentially, I guess, but I don't think so for the most part. I think it was just sloppy play, and they didn't have a good week of practice, and that's what happens. You play the way you practice. And so I think there was a combination of factors. And also, Rutgers, give them a lot of credit. They came prepared. They stuck to the game plan. They just outworked the Huskies early on in this game.
And that's what's so unacceptable to him.
Right. That's and the little things and the mental mistakes and stepping on the line out of bounds and making dumb decisions. Those are the things that really annoy a coach, in particular Gino Auriemma. So I think it was a combination of both. I don't think it was necessarily looking ahead to Baylor, but at the same time, that kind of grinded out game, I think it's good for the Huskies. To grind it out and win by 20 and get your bench involved is really great for the game. Then you rest your starters a little bit. The bench played a lot. The hard part, like Gino said, is just the turnaround time.
Well, and the turnaround is against a very tough team on Monday, obviously. And Baylor did not exactly have a tough one today. They beat TCU 78-45. Brittany Griner, well, just her usual game, 22, 10, and 2 blocks. How does UConn even begin to contain her on Monday night?
It's going to be hard. It's going to be by committee, that's for sure. Brianna Stewart this year, she's in there to help Stephanie Dolson because it was a different game last year. Stephanie has to stay out of foul trouble. You have to do your work before Brittany Griner gets the basketball. You can't just let her get it down deep like that. Shoot those little shots, and that's on an out-of-bounds play, which you have the opportunity to set up. You can't let the big girl get there, but it's going to be by committee. You can't play her one-on-one, but then at the same time, you have to be smart and be ready to rotate. If you're double-teaming her or something like that happens, you have to be on point with defense.
Right, because they have some excellent guards as well, Baylor.
Odyssey Sims. Can't say enough about my girl, Odyssey Sims. I think she's the best defensive player, other than Brittany Griner, in the country, the best point guard in the country in Odyssey Sims. And that's a great combination to have. You have your point guard like that, but plus the list goes on. They have Brooklyn Pope. They have Hayden, who has the second best assist to turnover ratio in the Big 12. So it's not just those two in the show. They have everybody back from last season. And like Gino said, being Gino, he said they should win it all. They have everybody back. They proved that they're just as good, if not better. So I think the bullseye's on their back, which is a good position for UConn to be in. Typically, it's the other way around. Technically, UConn has nothing to lose in this game. But also keep in mind that today's game was more important because it's a Big East game. That Baylor game doesn't really matter as far as standing. It's glory. It's bragging rights. But in the end, it doesn't really matter.
And he loves putting that bullseye on their backs. All right, we will wrap it all up when we come back. 65-45. UConn gets the win. The People's United Bank UConn postgame show returns after this. Look at the Big East standings brought to you by the XL Center. And look at the two teams on top. No surprise at all. They're getting that special coin out in case there's a tie at the end of the year and they need to break those ties. But you can see Syracuse and Louisville, DePaul following up. Notre Dame and UConn at the top of things. And speaking of the XL Center in Hartford, that is where tickets are now on sale for your 2013 Big East Women's Basketball Championship. For tickets, log on to xlcenter.com or call 860-548-2000. All that Big East stuff, and now we don't care about the Big East on Monday. We care about UConn and Baylor. Are the Huskies ready?
I think they are. I think this game was perfect for them. I really do. I think now, like Caroline Doty said, it was unacceptable. So they're going to tighten things up for Monday. I think as a player, you're glad you only have one day in between, because when you don't play particularly well, you don't want a lot of days of practice. So they have an opportunity to kind of redeem themselves, get back. I think the freshmen getting those minutes and that confidence was really good. Now you have your whole team to go through. They have the depth. I think it's been circled on the calendar for a long time. I think they have the capability of beating a team like Baylor. For as hard as it's going to be another grinded out game. It's not going to be, a 10-point, 20-point win, but it's going to be fun. I think it's a lot of fun, and again, they have nothing to lose because it doesn't count towards the Big East. But I think all eyes will be on, and Gino said, it's going to be fun. It certainly will be. 65-45, UConn gets the win. That'll do it for Kara. I'm back at 7:30 with Vin Parisi, Tariq Turner as the City pregame show for Syracuse and Seton Hall. But once again, a great win by UConn. We'll see you at 7:30 for men's basketball coming up. 65-45, UConn gets the win. We'll see what they do Monday, and we'll see you in a little bit.